Well, hello beautiful. Thank you so much for being here. If you are new, welcome. I'm Cody Montarbo, the founder of Montarbo Skin Care, always here to help you have the most healthy, glowing, and gorgeous skin. And if you love this information, please subscribe. Alright, so today I'm going to talk to you about some advanced Retin-A tricks and tips to help you get even better results with Retin-A, and tips and tricks to help you possibly use Retin-A a little differently so that either you can continue to use it if you are getting a lot of irritation, or maybe you can use it a little differently so that you can get even a little bit of a quicker result. Now, of course, with Retin-A, you do want to be careful. You should always follow the care of instructions of your care provider, your doctor, or wherever you're getting the Retin-A from. My clients, I've helped thousands of clients use Retin-A, so, these are just my tips and my tricks that I share with my clientele. So it's always best to make sure that if you're under the care of a doctor to just, follow what they are telling you, because they're looking at your skin, they kind of know your goals and probably your history of what other medicines you've been on. Because Retin-A is a medicine, so you just want to be always cautious and careful. I'm always a little bit more aggressive in my attempt. It's not for everyone, so definitely don't always follow my instructions. Follow, what feels right for you. But today I am going to share some tips and tricks with you on how to use Retin-A so that maybe you can just kind of mix it up a little bit and not get so caught in a box. Now, there are so many opinions online, and one person says do it dry, one person says, moisturize, another person says this, another person says don't mix this with that. So, I try not to get too caught up in it seems like everybody has a PhD in opinion. So, I think it's always important to do what feels right for you. But these are a lot of the tips and tricks that I share with my clients that really weren't getting results, they weren't noticing things, they were having kind of a reaction. And so this is, I think with skincare, it's important to realize that, sometimes, and medicine, sometimes whether it's psych meds or a medicine for something in your body, that, sometimes the one thing that we think is going to work on everyone doesn't work, or the way that they're using it, maybe they need more. Sometimes it's okay to, try to figure things out, and sometimes that takes a while, so you have to just kind of do things a little bit differently. So let's get started. I have a little bit of note because I just want to make sure that I mention all these. There are going to be 9 tips and tricks of how to use Retin-A so that you can get even a better result, or so that you can maybe stay on it. So the first thing I just want to say before I go into the 9 things is this. A lot of questions I get about Retin-A, and one of the biggest questions is it's not working. And so I think that this is misconception with Retin-A, because a lot of times just because it's not peeling or red or flaky doesn't necessarily mean that it's not working. It could mean maybe that you have a newer formulation of Retin-A that's out on the market, and retinoic acid, which is the main agent in there, the medicine, they're always trying to perfect the formulation of that so it doesn't cause too much irritation, so people can stay on it longer, because you need to be on it quite some time before you really get a compounding effect below the surface of the skin to help with acne, to help with aging, to help with wrinkles and discoloration and redness and broken capillaries, pores, tightening, all of those things. It's not like a product that you can just kind of use whenever you feel like it, like whenever you feel like kind of overweight, you just go to the gym. It's not like that, right? It's something that you need to be consistent, that needs to get in the skin very consistently. So let's start. So number 1 is that if you are using Retin-A now and you are getting a lot of redness or irritation, or your skin is just feeling like that feeling, which I just can't stand that feeling, the first thing I want to tell you is that you can moisturize your skin 3 times a day, but the first time that you moisturize is as soon as you get up in the morning. What you want to do is rinse your face with cold water, leave it dripping wet, and then moisturize. So not twice a day like people normally do before they get ready to go to school or work, and then before bed. No, you actually want to, as soon as you get up, also moisturize your skin. And that's what I do every single day anyway. It's a great anti-aging trick, but it's also a great way to help your skin to calm down if you're using Retin-A. The moisturizer helps with the inflammation that occurs, because Retin-A is a little dehydrating to the skin. It's kind of drying it up. It's also, when you use it long term, the reason people are getting really red and a little irritated, there's a little bit of erythema on there, and also the acid mantle of the skin, which is the top layer of the skin that regulates like pH and bacteria and moisture and oil and all of those things, it disrupts that a little bit. And so by putting more moisture in your skin, especially right when you wake up, you're going to love on your skin as soon as you get up, and that's a really great little trick. The second thing is to apply moisturizer first. Now, settle down, because Some people come for me on my Retin-A videos. It's like, that's not how it's prescribed. It's not written on the box. I mean, some people get really kind of mean and nasty. I'm going to be coming out with a video on the mean girls and trolls online that have been in my comment section. Because, you know, this is the thing, I think. If you don't like the information I'm sharing, change the channel, girl. Just change that channel. It's super easy, okay? Like, you don't always need to leave your comment. All these people with PhDs and leaving their comments, it's a little bit too much, okay? You don't have to agree with what I say. Because I say one thing and another person says another thing. But listen. You know, I think that I have a little bit of experience with being able to help thousands of people, probably 20,000 people or more with their skin over the years, just with skincare and facials. That's not talking makeup, that's not talking anything. So my experience, what I share with you is hands-on experience. Read, but I'm not using just the knowledge of a book or a peer journal or any of these things. I'm using, hey, let me actually teach people, show people, and kind of like use my own experience instead of like just being squared into a little box that says, don't you dare moisturize before you use Retin-A. Well, the reason, let me just tell you why they say that. Okay, the first reason is because if you moisturize your skin, the Retin-A will travel deeper into the skin. Well, I don't know about you, but I want that stuff in my skin. And I believe the healthier your skin is, the more hydrated it is, just like you wouldn't, like your skin, if it's dehydrated, it's like a dry ass raisin, and you put some medicine up in there, and you trying to get that medicine into the skin, it's just gonna take so much more time for the Retin-A to penetrate the skin. I think like there's nothing wrong with it going into the skin a little quicker or deeper when the skin is hydrated. There's nothing wrong with that. We want that. And the healthier your skin is, just like your body, the more medicines can actually react. Just like in your body, when you take a lot of medicines, you get dehydrated, right? And sometimes you can't go number 2. Same thing. Well, you gotta stay hydrated. You gotta keep that water moving through the blood and the veins and stuff, and through all of your organs. So same concept with your skin. Your skin is the largest organ. So moisturizing your skin first, what that's going to do is it's just going to flood your skin with a lot of nutrients, a lot of love, a lot of water, and it's going to allow that Retin-A to go into the skin a little bit deeper. So be careful. So just be cautious. Know if, oh, it feels a little bit red, raw, or irritated the next day, then maybe you are a person that is not a candidate for moisturizing first. But this has been a huge trick, a huge way that I've helped people change their Retin-A use so that they can stay on it if they're getting really irritated, is to moisturize your skin first. And then what you want to do is you want to make sure that when you moisturize your skin, what you're going to do is you're going to cleanse your skin with a gentle cleanser. You're going to leave your skin a little bit wet, kind of sometimes dripping wet, and you're going to moisturize right away with that moisture. Whatever it is that you use, like or love, doesn't really matter. You don't need to complicate this. I don't think you should use anything terribly expensive because it is a medicine. You do want it to penetrate there. And if there's a product that is very expensive that has a lot of peptides or growth factors, the retinoic acid can kind of sometimes destroy the efficacy of those other products, and try to find something that's a little bit more water-based. That's just my opinion. So the third thing is, if you are extremely oily and have very thick skin, I tell my clients to use more than a pea-sized amount. Now, I know it says to use a pea-sized amount. I get it. I see and read all this stuff, okay? But here's the thing. I have noticed more than anything what happens is people give up on using products. And I get so many people that come in here with all these prescription strength skincare, and then they're like, well, what do you have? What do you, I want to buy your stuff. I'm like, no, you're not buying my stuff until you use up your stuff, okay? You have a prescription. You have a $100 cream for Retin-A, and there you need to use it. But if you teach them how to do little different things so that they don't get so irritated, or so that they can see a little bit of a quicker result, they'll stay on it, they'll feel hopeful. It's like if you went to the gym for 6 months and worked your butt off, but you didn't see any results, you probably wouldn't go back. And that happens a lot more than you know. And I'm sure if you can relate to this, show this below the video, where you're not getting the results that you hope, so you kind of give up on the product, when it really, in reality, it's about being consistent. And sometimes if you use just a little bit more, especially if your forehead, look at that forehead takes a pea-sized amount, honey. So the reason why they mention pea-sized amount is there is some controversy of it getting in the blood system, whatever. I've read a lot of journals about this. I'm not going to go into detail about that. But also the main other reason is because they want you to stay on the Retin-A so that you get the benefit of using it. But the problem is that if you continue to use Retin-A as directed and your skin gets irritated, dry, red, flaky, parched, dehydrated, you're not going to continue to use it. So Same thing if you're not getting a result or if you're not feeling like it's working. And a lot of times people will say, oh, my skin looks worse, it looks older, it looks more aged, and that is a sign of it working because it's kind of dehydrating the skin out. It's working below the surface. Of course, I don't know the formulation that you might be using. I don't know if it's real Retin-A. Sometimes it's not real Retin-A, especially if it's from interesting places that you might get it. You know, so you just, with medicines like that, I always want to make sure that I'm getting it from a legit resource and person or company, because you just don't, I just don't feel like you want to be putting those kinds of things or anything on your skin that could have an adverse reaction, or not only mentioning to waste your money. It's really important that you are purchasing a legit product. I think that that's extremely important. So if your skin is super thick and it's super oily, your skin naturally will be rejecting the medicine or anything you kind of put on it. When I do somebody's chemical peel, or I do a 3% retinoic acid chemical peel on somebody, I usually have to use twice as much as somebody somebody who has very thin skin, very fine skin. So if somebody that's really thick, I have to like kind of work extra hard, and I usually have to use more solution on them because their skin is purging more oil, it's a little bit thicker. So that's just a little bit of a trick that you can put a little bit more on, and you're going to be okay, especially if you do these other things. But of course, follow the care of your provider, whatever you think is best for you. Now, if you feel like it's not working, and the main reason why I think Retin-A, or people think that Retin-A might not be working, is because if you start Retin-A, and let's say you're a total newbie, and you haven't been really treating your skin, helping your skin, or you've been using, bleak products, or you've been using products that are very underwhelming, they're not very active, they're not very good at like really exfoliating the skin, then you may need to get your top layer of skin off. That's the biggest issue, and that's why Retin-A takes so much longer, and that's why a lot of other agents take a lot longer, is because the top several layers of your skin, the top layer, we call it horny layer, in order to get into the epidermis, you have to get some of that skin off, and most of us have just that dead skin, which is already going to fall off. So if you get it off first, you're going to have a much quicker kind of response time to that retinoic acid working below the surface of the skin, and you're going to probably see a little bit more of a result a little bit quicker. So that's also a little tip, is to use maybe an alpha hydroxy cleanser, to use a glycolic product. Scrub, you don't want to scrub, and the reason why you don't want to scrub, people always ask this question, is because you're kind of tearing your skin a little bit, unless the scrub is like a jojoba bead or it's very soft. Anything that's really aggressive, like with those aluminum kind of things, or apricot scrub, you don't really want to scrub. And besides, just so you know, when you use a scrub, most people are pretty aggressive with scrubbing. They love scrubbing. So it has to be a very fine molecular kind of size product, in my opinion. And the scrubbing is a quick way to cause a lot of inflammation into the skin. And the more you do to your skin that causes inflammation and kind of irritation, scrubbing can also cause a lot of irritation, especially if you have acne, then you're going to put that medicine on and you're going to dehydrate your skin, you're going to get sensitized skin, your skin's going to get super dry and dehydrated, it's going to be really irritated and mad at you, and you're not going to want to stay on it, because you're going to start to feel like this sense of fire on your face. It's going to really feel hot, and it's also going to get hot from the sun and your sweat. So because you're kind of compromising that acid mantle by scrubbing your skin. I also do not recommend a cleansing brush. That's just my opinion. I don't think that they are really that amazing as they're touted. I thought they kind of were at first, because I was selling them and then I wasn't sure, but I just saw that more people had more issues with the cleansing brush. Now maybe the cleansing brush you can use once a week or once every couple weeks, but using it every day seems a bit much. I think it's causing a lot of issues with people's skin, or a lot of long-term issues later with causing too much inflammation, stimulation. And it's also, I think, causing issues with like melasma, because people, it's more about not knowing how to use something, and we're very unconscious a lot of times, and I am too with certain things, but we're not very conscious like when we're like brushing our teeth, we're not very conscious when we're washing our face, we're just doing it. It's like kind of a routine, and it's a means to an end, and we're just doing it. We gotta get the kids to sleep, and I have to wake up at 4, and you have to get to work, and so it's really more about bringing more conscious awareness to what you're doing, and a lot of people don't teach people how to do that. So maybe if you're doing the cleansing brush and most people go, it's not meant to do that. It's meant to just be on the top layer, but nobody does that because we love that little extra. It's kind of like with my toothbrush. Sometimes I gotta back off and go, girl, your gum is bleeding. You gotta back off, just let the toothbrush kind of glide on the tooth. Same thing with those cleansing brushes. Mention about the scrubbing. I was thinking I was saying 1, 2, 3, and my numbers are off. Sorry, I can't even read my own notes. So it's weird because obviously I do all this off the top of my head, and so then when I try to get really organized, it's almost like I have an unconscious response in me that's like, no, freedom. But anyway, it's good to kind of keep you guys on track. So I don't know if I started off with numbers, but anyway, the next thing is to not scrub too much inflammation. Another thing is to not use any hot water when you're washing your face while using Retin-A. People are using too hot of water. It's the same water that you put on your back on your neck and your lower back to like just soothe yourself and to make your tightness go away. You should never put on your face. You should, when using Retin-A, the cooler the water, the better. Even sometimes ice cold water is very refreshing to the skin. In fact, using an ice cube on your skin when using Retin-A will kind of numb your skin a little bit, kind of calm it down and make it feel very soothed, and then you would just moisturize right after. That's just a little trick. I'm giving you a bonus tip, okay? The next thing is to do an oil cleanse if you're irritated. So if you're really irritated and you're still using Retin-A and you really want to continue to use it, but you're kind of like hesitant and you're just feeling raw and red and irritated, then you want to maybe look into doing some oil cleansing. I think one of the best you can use and most affordable is extra virgin olive oil. That's the best for most skin types. If you have like very oily skin, then you could use like grapeseed oil, and if you have acne prone skin, you probably don't want to do coconut, but if you're mature, then you could probably like more mature skin, or you're not prone to like acne congestion and acne, then you can definitely use like coconut oil. I know a lot of people use coconut oil and they like it, but we have seen in some of the research it can clog you and cause some issues. We thought it was like the everything oil of the decade, but it's turning out to be a little congesting on certain skin types. Next thing that I recommend is that you use a moisture mask 3 times a week. Because what you want to do is you want to repair any of the dehydration that's occurring from destroying or compromising the top layer of the acid mantle, and just dehydration from the Retin-A and that redness. You want to kind of put back some love into your skin. You want to flood it with love, flood it with moisture, and give it just some love 3 times a week. And then the last thing is you want to use it every other night if you are really sensitive, and just in general, I think. Now, it depends, of course, if you're with a derm, do what they recommend, but I've noticed that a lot of my clients do much better using it every other night instead of every night, because it can cause just a little bit too much activity and irritation if you use it every night, especially if you're going to be using a little bit more. So what I recommend is that one night you use the Retin-A, the next night that you just love on your skin, you moisturize it, or you give it another nutrient that you're trying to also work on, maybe a skin brightener, and then the following night you use the Retin-A again, and then the next night you're going to use moisture mask, moisture, whatever you're trying to treat. Now, if you're treating your skin with hyperpigmentation and you're using vitamin C or using benzoyl peroxide, you do need to be careful, because again, you're drying out your skin. So aggressive and too kind of stimulating to the skin. And what I see in my office more than anything is that people are just using too many, they're using too much of these acne medications, or they're using too much of these anti-aging medications, and they're using them too frequently because they think they're going to get a better result. And we all do that. I do that like with almost everything too, and I used to do that a lot more, but what I realize is every time you kind of traumatize the skin a little bit with something that's kind of aggressive, you need to love on it. You need to put it back in and kind of manipulate the skin and love it. So when I do chemical peels on people, or my retinol peel on people, like I'll do an acid and then I do a mask. I do an acid and then I moisturize and do a mask and then take it off and then I strip them and then I use alcohol, and then, so I don't just kind of strip. I strip and I'm aggressive and then I love. I strip and I'm aggressive and then I love. So anyway, guys, I hope that I have made sense today. I know I was kind of probably all over the place, but anyway, I just wanted to share some Retin-A, some advanced Retin-A tricks and tips with you, so that maybe you can either get a better result, or maybe that you can stay using Retin-A, or that maybe you could just mix it up a little bit so that you can see if it'll work better or it will work a little bit quicker on you. If you love this information, please subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them below this video, and remember to always stay gorgeous, and I'll see you soon in a new video. Bye-bye.